Is this a perfect game? What is a perfect game?
It doesn't exist.
What's wrong with Metal Gear?
Everything.
Why do I hate it so much? I only gave it a 10.
I'm gonna lead you down this tunnel and I'm gonna punch you in the face. But no, really, like you gave this the best score you could.
And the best score I've ever given a game ever in my career.
And you guys think highly of it? Brendan, you're kind of the outlier here.
I'm not like, oh, it's terrible, give it a 4 out of 10. I'm like, it's in like the 9.8. It's near a masterpiece, as close as you could get without actually being it. And I love the game. I played it like a damn fiddle. Yes, I did say that. I love everything about it. I just wish there were some things that could have been moved around or added. And there's also one thing they could have removed: microtransactions. People haven't got a lot into that yet, but the 4 operating base, you get the first one for free. All the other ones you want to build, you gotta shell over some buckaroos.
Well, you can also get that just by logging in every day.
Yeah,
well. I don't personally have a problem with so I'm very touchy about these things. Like when it impacts the experience, like when it's like, hey, you could have this thing, but you don't, so you better give us some money. Like I don't like that.
To be fair, it is a very slight detail. Like the slightest doesn't really impact. I just feel that for a $60 big game as this, you don't need it. It does not have a place in there. Sure. That's why it's a very tiny little flaw, not a huge one.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very touchy about these things, but I feel like having messed around with that first forward operating base, there is so much to unlock on that thing and so much to do, and that's not stuff that you pay for. That's just like you use your in-game currency.
Yeah, the first one, yeah.
There is so much for me to worry about there that like I can't even imagine when I'm gonna be able to financially support like as my mother base, as my diamond dogs exist in the game now. I can't imagine how I'm going to support it. But I mean, to get back to like for a second, like, so you wouldn't give it a 10, and that's totally fair. The interesting thing about that is that, and this is something you run into, I run into in every review, is that it's like we could literally agree on what's in the game, and I think for the most part, it sounds like we do. At least as far as like the story goes, like the same complaints you have about the story, literally exactly what I wrote in the review, right? So the question is, how much does it impact the experience? And for everyone, that's going to be very different. And like that's where, for me, that's where this is like, you know, if you follow my work, then like you know that I'm a very mechanics and systems driven player. That is what moves me. That is what scratches the itch in my brain. That's just how I work.
Which is weird, because you're very warm and human, even though you're clearly some sort of math cyborg on the inside.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, so because of that, a story that gets out of my way and lets me just do what I want, that is like you said, that is literally what I want. So as a critic, I have a job to do, and the job is to report what I see. Okay, and that is if you want to talk about, so objectivity is not real. Okay. But it's not real. There's no such thing. Okay, and we know that, and most people know that. It's impossible to be objective. It is not impossible to be factual in what you report and see exhibited in a game. Okay?
An awareness of your own presuppositions and an awareness of the context you're walking in helps you write a better review. Just walking in and going, I know I'm being subjective, and just so I'm clear and thinking about what the reading audience is also interested in, I'm going to step away, look in, and say, hey, here are the presuppositions I'm walking in with. Let me think about those as I write my review so that I can be mindful of everybody's thoughts.
So to pull this out of cutscene territory, what a review is you're supposed to assess what a game is attempting to do and how well it succeeds at doing that.
And how and what the value of what it's attempting is.
Right. Now, the scale of the Phantom Pain is outlandish.
It is outlandish. It's outlandish is what it is.
The flair with which it pulls it off is dumbfounding. Like it is.
And the intelligence with which, and the intelligence and detail with which its gameplay is vetted is, like, as a person who cares about that first and foremost, it's really simple. There's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's no game ever that has done and achieved what Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain has. Like the way all of its different pieces interlock and work and have purpose and function and are also simultaneously fun to engage with. That provide at any given time, depending on how granular you want to get with it, just like an unbelievable, unprecedented number of meaningful decisions to make, you know, second to second, moment to moment, both in terms of action and resource management. Just there's simply no game. I've played a lot. I'm here to tell you I've played a lot of games. I've been playing games for over 30 years, and nothing comes close to it. And I feel like I cannot. if that is not worthy of awarding a 10 to, if that is not a masterpiece because it doesn't have maybe the as many cutscenes as it could have, or as an instantly like an Oscar award-winning story to it. I don't want to live in a world where a game can't be a masterpiece because without having some amazing story attached. To me, like, games are first and foremost will always be they will always be about intricate puzzles and intricate systems that tickle and exercise and engage your mind.
Yeah.
And the world in which a game is not allowed to be a masterpiece. You're gonna tell me, and I know you'll back me up on this, you're going to tell me Tetris is not a masterpiece? Like, is anyone going to tell me Tetris is not a masterpiece?
I thought some of the blocks were kind of unrealistic.
Right? This is what I'm saying. Like, how can you tell me Tetris is not a masterpiece?
Why
If
are we even
Tetris-
playing blocks there? Like, who told me to?
Right? Like,
No, I mean, but this you raise a good point. That this is a game worthy of Lovecraftian adjectives. It does just amazing, almost indescribable things that you haven't seen before, and it does things you have seen before better than anything before it ever has. You make the comparison to Tetris. You can find flaws in that design too. Absolutely, people have iterated on dropping block puzzles in many different ways.
Sure.
Nevertheless, it's a masterpiece. It's something you look at and you go, "Wow, this is just mind-blowing." You go back to playing Super Mario Brothers for the first time. If you're somebody from the period where that was a new thing and there hadn't been anything like that, you go. If you're you look at this, you look at what Grand Theft Auto 5 achieved with that giant open world.
Yeah.
And people and we get on a list of these. But yeah, but it is subjective, and not all of us are going to agree on that, which is why discussing reviews
is a thing.
a lot of fun.
That's why I'm here.
That's
I mean,
why. Yeah.
it's not a perfect game, but there is no perfect game. You know,
Right.
There's no game that is going to win everyone over. Some people don't necessarily like games. There's
There's this.
And just art in general.
yeah.
Citizen Kane is a masterpiece. Is it perfect?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if perfect
kinda
is the
boring,
word.
to be
I think
honest.
I think that putting the Phantom Pain in the same category as Tetris, Mario Brothers, and GTA 5 is very, very okay.
Yeah,
Because it is a
absolutely.
game we're going to be talking about for a very long time.
Whatever arbitrary number or color or review scale I put in my brain, it is still a game very much worth playing. It is still a very amazing piece of work, and I love Kojima for doing it.
And
Go ahead. I understand the other side of the philosophic argument on this. Some people are sitting and going, you can't have that 10. That's as old as martial arts. A lot of, just by happenstance, a lot of old martial arts systems have 10 ranks of mastery, 10 dan. And there are some adherents of those arts that will only accept a 9. They won't take a 10. Won't take that final 10th rank because they believe that's perfection and nobody get. Other people absolutely willingly accept that 10th rank, saying, no, I also understand there's no perfection, but this is as good as anybody's going to get. I think that's a philosophic argument that's being played out in a very weird way.
Like, you leave that bottom button of a jacket unbuttoned. Nobody knows why, but you do it.
No, but you bring up such a perfect point that I want to bring up to people, like, because a lot of people have rightfully, well, I don't know about rightfully. Well, yeah, no, they're entitled to feel the way they feel for sure. It's rightful in that sense. Have said, but like 10 out of 10 is a perfect score, right? Like, you can't get higher in a 10-point scale than 10, right? So isn't that perfect? And I get that philosophy, but the number is a scale. Any scale is, at the end of the day, it's an abstraction, and the point of that abstraction is to be useful to you folks. It's the point is to give us an actual functional rating system that allows us to assign value to something. If any scale on which, if we can agree that there's no such thing as a perfect game, which I think we can pretty much agree on. If we can agree on that, then that means a 10 would never be given out, like you said in that analogy. Mm-hmm. And if a 10 will literally never be given out, then there's actually no function for it to be there. It does not serve me. It does not serve the readers. So yeah, like if you're not going to use it, then why is it there?
There's a reason that it's not perfect under the bottom. It's a masterpiece.
Exactly.
Okay. On that note, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain is a hella good game, and everyone should
masterpiece.
play it. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Absolutely, everyone should play this game.
Well, there you go. Thank you guys so much for talking. Yeah, I love this job because I get to come in and just geek out about Metal Gear Solid. So I want to go home and play that. I'm
too.
Max Scoville. Vincent Giannito, Brendan Graber, and Jared Petty. You can find all their work. These two still hard at work on the guides.
It'll be a
for
very
some-
long time.
Yeah.
Come home again.
Have you started on the Africa section yet?
There's an Africa?
Oh boy.
Spoilers.
Yeah, yes, I finished the main like story campaign a while ago, and I'm digging into the post game stuff now. So
Okay, well,
I heard there's a
you
dog
should-
there too somewhere.
I have nothing to say about that whatsoever. No spoilers.
They got a lot of work ahead of them. Wow. So yeah, for all your Metal Gear Solid 5 coverage, it will continue to live here, right here on IGN.